bulging biceps, more granite boulders than meat carved by steel and syringes. Useless, save for poses and intimidation. No, I always wanted a swimmer's body. Perfect poetry in motion. Liquid made flesh, hairless and streamlined. Muscles taut as drumheads pounding rhythms on the surface of the water in a syncopated symphony of grace and power and purpose. But alas, alack, obviously, I have been graced with neither. No water has honed these thighs. No iron has etched these calves. For I have a poet's body. Hunchbacked and pot-bellied, skin not bronzed and oiled, but pale and sallow from basking in the radiation of a computer screen in a darkened room. Body fueled not by steroids and energy bars, but by coffee. Lots of coffee. Give me some coffee and make it dark and black as the devil's eyeball. You see, this body doesn't pump iron. It pumps irony into poem. Oh, shut up. You knew it was coming, so just shut up. It pumps irony into poem after poem, slinging sweat on reams of bright white inkjet paper and sumo wrestling demons by candlelight. I've traded rock-hard abs for rock-solid vocab. Toned trapeziuses for threadbare thesauruses, a mountainous gluteus maximus for a moth-eaten Moleskine notebook, and 20 reps at the Bowflex for the 20-volume set of the Oxford English Language Dictionary. Oh yes, 151 pounds of pure definition. Definition. Give me a smoky poetry slam and a dingy dive bar over cleaning and jerking in a Gold's Gym any day. My fellow slam poets may not be muscle-bound freaks, but they are multisyllabic monsters, lifting the spirit of the masses with the strength of their convictions and pulling down crooked regimes with pen strokes. My muscles propel my fingertips across keyboards at 86 truths per minute. My eyes that flash in the direction of every sigh, and my heart, the strongest muscle in the human body that weeps and moans and gnashes its teeth and fights and loves so hard, it nearly bursts from my chest every time it rains. Thank you very much. Every time I drink, just applaud furiously. Ready? Yeah! I flew in from Austin, Texas. I hate flying. I absolutely, positively hate flying. I try not to fly as much as I possibly can. But I think what you guys got going here with your, isn't it like Sexual Violence Awareness Week? Something along those lines? Very important. Worth the utter agony I go through to fly to be here. So give it up for the people who organize this event. That I will not be at the Take Back the Night March tomorrow because I brought a t-shirt that says Take Back the Night. I thought it was going to be tonight, but it's tomorrow. So when you guys are taking back tomorrow night for me, just remember, I'll be on the airplane freaking out and completely and utterly unhappy, listening to Radiohead's new album going, dear God. I have like a special mix on my iPod, like the Fear of Flying mix. It's got like things I wouldn't mind dying to. Like Tori Amos is on there. I think if you're gonna die, Ani DeFranco is a good thing to listen to on your way down, Tilly and the Whale. Regina Spektor, I will die to Regina Spektor. That's okay, I can handle that. You guys know Regina Spektor at all? Boy, oh boy, is she good. I saw her from the front row, like with my arms on the stage as she was performing, and during a quiet part, I was that guy who yelled something, but I go, I love you too much. And then she goes, I love you too much, too much. I died. I swooned. Okay, so my poetry is about embracing my people. This poem, shut up, I have people. This poem is for my people. You, I suspect, are one of my people. You may be one of my people. You are definitely one of my people. I'm sorry, but you are not one of my people. But you could be. This one goes out to my people. It starts with a quote. Height is not measured from the ground up, but from the sky down. Napoleon Bonaparte. Yeah! It always happens. When I rock a microphone, I feel 10 foot tall and luminous, steel-toed and bulletproof. But then I walk triumphantly off stage, and inevitably, some tall idiot walks up to me and feels compelled to state the obvious. Wow, Big Papa E, you're not very big. Now are you? Well, allow me to fashion a witty retort. To hell with all y'all tall people. Short people, rock! Being short is not a shortcoming, it's a strength. All it takes to turn a tall person into a whiny little punk is a road trip. But me, I'm stretched out in the back and going to sleep. If this venue were engulfed in smoke and flames like a great white concert, all you tall people would drop to your knees trying to suck up all the good air. But us short people, we just walk right out. Because it's all good air when it is short. We short people are manufactured for maximum maneuverability, dodging through crowds like liquid mercury, avoiding knees and elbows with acrobatic agility. Question, if a tall person trips and falls alone in the forest, would there be a sound? Answer, heck yeah, there'd be a sound! But me, I'm already so low to the ground that falling is like laying my head on a pillow. And I never bump my head on anything. If I bump my head on something, that stuff is too freaking low. And don't talk to me about reaching stuff, oh hell no. That's why the good Lord invented chairs and tall people. Yo, Michael Jordan, give me that tuna can off the top shelf now, biatch. Tall people are up to no good. All the truly innovative thinkers of the modern age have been short. Einstein, 5'3". Gandhi, 5'2". Tori Amos, 5'1". Shigeru Miyamoto, the creative genius behind Donkey Kong and Super Mario Brothers, 4'9", bitches. Now, I don't want you to think that I'm drinking haterade. With me, it's all love, love, you know. Ian, love, love. To hell with tall people! To hell with tall people who stand in front of you at concerts and movies! To hell with tall people who take up the whole damn bed like they own it! To hell with tetherball! I freaking hate tetherball! Who invented tetherball is a stupid jackass! And to hell with basketball too! The only good thing about the NBA is that they crowd those who shall be shot first. Oh yes, the revolution is indeed coming. And the revolution will not be supersized, it will be minimized. And when the short people of this world unite and rise up, you might not be able to tell right away. But when steel-toed, boot-shaped bruises appear on long-ass shins the world over, you will know that me, Gary Coleman, that kid from Webster, and Mini-Me, and Oompa Loompas, and Prince have finally had enough of your crap and begun taking over the world one step stool at a time, represents. You have a short person in you, I can tell. You had him for lunch, didn't you? I can see him struggling to get out. Let me out! I am not pad Thai! I had the best pad Thai today. Anybody like Thai food? Oh man, I love me some pad Thai. Okay, ready? Drum roll, please. So, I'm a little guy, and I gotta give it up for the little guys because no one else is giving it up for the little guys. You know, the people who are in beer commercials, like the quarterback type of people, the big gigantic channel changer type of four-wheel drive kind of people, the big hair and the big everything else kind of people, they don't need anybody to advocate for them because they own and run the world, but us little folks, and I mean that in so many different ways. We need somebody to just help us raise our own voices. And this is a poem for the biggest little guy in the entire universe. And this is very important to me. This is probably the most important poem I've ever written in my entire life. So feel this. Are you ready to feel this? I just saw somebody picking their nose. They didn't think I noticed. Look at you all looking, you cruel people. You are cruel people. There's nobody in here with a pink t-shirt. That's why I said pink, because you guys are mean. There are few things in this life that are strictly black and white. Most issues float somewhere in the middle of a vast sea of gray, open to a myriad conflicting interpretations. But I am here to tell you that there are such things as absolute truths, undeniable facts that rise from that wishy-washy sea of opinions and stand resolutely, like Venus in a clamshell for all to see. I am talking about incontrovertible principles that are impossible to deny, of which I will now list 5. 1, the sun will rise and the sun will set. 2, all who were born will one day die. 3, Justin Timberlake's solo is way better than Justin Timberlake in NSYNC. 4, crunchy peanut butter is not only irrefutable proof of God's existence, but also shows she loves us very much. And people who like smooth peanut butter hate the baby Jesus. 5, which is the reason I'm here right now, and I'm speaking of that one remaining sterling truth no reasonable person can deny. Pluto is a freaking planet. A bunch of self-important professors got bored one day and decided to get back at all the cruel people who wouldn't date them in high school by knocking Pluto's standing in the universe down to dwarf planet and renaming it 134340. And why? Because Pluto isn't like other planets. Pluto's smaller than most moons. Pluto's got a bit of a strange orbit. Wah, freaking wah. But really, who in this room has never been considered an oddball, an outcast, special? Let him that hath never been considered a dweeb cast the first meteoroid. Pluto is like the chubby goth girl lurking at the edge of the solar system and staring longingly at the cosmic dance floor filled with all the popular planets. Ew, look at me, I'm Saturn, look at my freaking rings. Ew, look at me, I'm Jupiter, I'm so deep, look at my third eye. And all these planetary John Lennons and Paul McCartneys vying for celestial attention while poor Ringo gets pushed to the back of the Universal stage. And let me tell you, without Ringo, the Beatles would have amounted to nothing. Ringo put the beat into the Beatles, and without him, they would have just been the Who's. Without chubby goth girls, gay high school boys would never have bosoms to cry upon. I never would have had bosoms to cry upon. Pluto is the symbol for every kid who's never fit in. We need Pluto as proof that no matter how small you are, how separated from mainstream society, how abnormal, how weird you are, you too can be a planet. I don't care what they say. I don't give a damn about any so-called science. Forget science. This is beyond science. This is about belief. And I believe that Pluto was a planet long before these bitter eggheads were mewling and puking on their mother's knees. And when they're all dead and buried along with their hoity-toity ideas and the universe has forgotten their blink of existence, Pluto will still be out there, watching over this tiny, blue, gay planet from afar, like the chubby goth girl best friend it always was. Call Pluto what you will, but remember this: a rose by any other name is still a freaking planet. That's so weird. Does anybody have MySpace?
Yeah.
You should friend me. That would be really cool. We'll be friends. It's myspace.com/Big Papa E. And the Papa is Poppae. It's not like Papa E or Popo E. I've seen it so many different ways. Anybody do Facebook?
Yep.
I do Facebook under my given name, Eric Ott. Eric is E-I-R-I-K. It's like Eric. Ott is O-T-T. And I have a website too, bigpoppae.com. It has all kinds of free downloads and stuff. The end. Okay. So I went to college in Northern California, at a place called Chico University. Chico State University, a little tiny community college surrounded by just 75 miles of farmland, but a really, really cool campus with really cool people, lots and lots of stuff going on with music and theater, lots and lots of gay people, awesome place. Unfortunately, also lots and lots of like frat guys and like that Greek drinking culture. Like I got threatened a lot. Is it okay? Can I speak just a tiny bit of hatred? Just a little bit of loathing. Just a little bit of loathing. I loathe the very concept of frats, and I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Maybe it's because they would never have me. Maybe if they would have me, I wouldn't feel this way, but I think of them as the enemy. Anyway, we had this, and that's maybe bad. I'm sure there's one little frat dude who's like the skinny guy in a Weezer shirt who's like, feminism kicks ass, but I haven't met that person yet. Anyway, I was at a gender as performance conference, which was freaking amazing. All these amazing performers just exploring the wide range, the fabulous tapestry called gender through performance. It was awesome. And I remember this one big performance with someone named Kate Bornstein. Do you guys know who Kate Bornstein is? Awesome. Kate Bornstein, gender warrior to the extreme. You should totally look up Kate Bornstein on the internets. And we were in a theater this big, packed, absolutely packed, which is one of the cool things about my university is that people went to stuff like this. However, I was one of only 3 guys in the entire place because at my campus, gender studies are for girls. Women's studies are for girls. Feminism is for girls. I'm a guy. Why should I do it? You know that like intro to women's studies that, you know, freshman girls take? It should be freshman people take. It should be required learning. However, no guys go to it. It's lame. I was always the one sort of enlightened male. I had to like rep for everybody. So, as the only male in this class, Eric, what do you think about la 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 la? It was very odd to be singled out like that. And I remember I asked Kate Bornstein a question about like, what can I do as a guy, blah, blah, blah. And Kate had some really awesome things to do. And this woman stood up and said, why are you here? Why are you even here? This is not your fight. Oh my God. This is a good opportunity to turn off your cell phones. Wait, can I tell you guys what this is? God, I'm taping this, she's gonna kill me. I have a schmoopie, her name is Zara, and oh God, this is a little bit, we just started taking the pill. It was a big discussion as to whether or not we should or not. We've been dating for 3 years, and so after a lot of talk, a lot of research, we decided to do it. And so to help her remember to take the pill, I set my alarm every day at 7 o'clock so that I can text her and say, pill. Because I want to be involved, because it's part of, it's us, we're on the pill, you know? Is that dorky? It's a little dorky. It's irresponsible. She appreciates it. Sometimes I just text her sex and she's like, shut up. You're a guarantee that I'm not going to be using the pill tonight. Thank you very much. Anyway, she stood up and said, like, why are you here? This is not your struggle. And I was like, I beg to freaking differ. Notice, I am not like a beer commercial dude. I don't have a 4x4, okay? I don't run the planet, I get beat up all the time. In high school, my existence was about being beat up for being gay. Thankfully, there were a lot of gay kids in the theater department in my high school, so I actually had friends, but the type of guy that I was very effeminate. I liked things that the society as a whole deemed feminine, you know? I didn't do things that society as a whole deemed masculine. Therefore, I was less than man because I was closer to female, and that was considered negative. And I think that the fight against misogyny and the support of feminism is a fight against that kind of stuff. If you see something, this whole notion of feminine and masculine is fucked up. It's so stupid, these gender norms that are foisted upon us. And it's just so that companies can benefit from selling us stuff. You know, it's not enough just to be. You have to enhance your masculinity by buying this thing that will enhance it. And if you buy into that whole notion, it's just, people profit from that crap. It's so toxic and so unhealthy. And also, like until there's as many men in the Take Back the Night marches, nothing is really going to happen because, I don't know, there might be women who rape. I'm sure there are. But statistically, I think mostly it's men who rape. It's men who do the sexual assault. It's men who perpetrate these crimes to women. And until men say, I will not accept this behavior, nothing is going to change. And I think it's very important to remember that. It's only half the battle. The first part of the battle, I think, is to empower women. The second part of the battle is to teach men. And it's very important because if we don't teach our young boys to grow up to be enlightened men, we have no one to complain to when we allow them to be raised by Maxim magazine and Will Ferrell movies. You know? If we leave them to be raised by wolves, it's our fault when they start howling at the moon at 16. You know what I'm saying? When they're date raping at 18. We need to do a lot of work with this, and men are a part of this process. Otherwise, nothing is going to really, really change. And I don't know, maybe that's sometimes a little controversial, but I think it affects me too. Because I've been beaten up a lot for just being the guy I am. And I think feminism has something to do with that. It's misogyny. It's a hatred of things that are women and feminine. So, that's a long segue into this poem, which is all about the type of guy I am. There was nobody repping for me when I was in high school. I was a very lonely kid in high school. Hey, hats off to loneliness. Had there been, school shootings were in vogue. They weren't like the thing you did back then. I graduated in '85, oh my God. But had there been, every time there would have been one, the next day, people would have been looking at me. Because there's that one kid dressed in black with the Dungeon Master's Guide under their arm everywhere they go, that everybody looks at, who smells kind of funny, and nobody will tell them they smell kind of funny, so they will always smell funny. Right now, do this. If there's the kid who smells funny, drop him a note. Say, you smell kind of funny. Use some soap, it's okay. No, it's true. Somebody did it for me. I was funky in 8th grade. I was funky. And somebody said, you funky. And I got unfunky, because it was a girl. And when I got unfunky, I actually talked to a girl, but that's part 2 of my performance. Anyway, this is my poem about me as a guy. My name is Big Papa E, and I am a wussy boy.
Yeah!
It's taken me a long time to admit it. I remember shouting in high school, no, Dad, I'm not gay. I'm just a little sensitive. I tried to like hot rods and jet planes and Budweiser poster girls and football, but I never got the hang of it, Dad. I don't know what's wrong with me. Then I saw him. There on the silver screen, bigger than life and unafraid of earrings and hair dye and rejoicing in the music of The Cure. And Morrissey and Susie and the Banshees, walking loud and talking proud, my wussy boy icon, Ducky in Pretty in Pink. And I realized I wasn't alone. And now I look around and see a whole new school of wussy boys living large and proud of who they are. Jake Gyllenhaal and Donnie Darko, wussy boy. Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker and Spider-Man, wussy boy. And Lord God, King of the wussy boy movement, Elijah Wood as Frodo Baggins in The Lord of the Rings, wussy boy. Unafraid to prove to all of Middle-earth that 2 wussy hobbits can take the Dark Lord down. Now, I am no longer ashamed of my wussiness. Hell no, I am empowered by it. When I'm at a stoplight, and some redneck testosterone methamphetamine jock frat boy butthead dumb jerk pulls up beside me, cranking his Trans Am stereo with power chord anthems to big boobs and date rape, I no longer avoid his eyesight. Hell no, I just crank all 12 watts of my car stereo, and I rock out right into his face. I am human and I need to be loved, just like everybody else does. I am wussy boy, hear me roar. Bar fight? Shoot, you think you could take me, huh? Just because I like poetry better than Sports Illustrated? Well, allow me to caution you, for I am not the average everyday run-of-the-mill wussy boy you beat up in high school, punk. I am wuss core.
Yeah.
Don't make me get Renaissance on your ass, because I will write a poem about you. A poem that tears your psyche limb from limb, that exposes yourself as insecurities that will wound you deeper and more severely than knives and chains and gats and baseball bats could ever hope to do. You may see 65 inches of wussy boy standing in front of you, but my steel-toe soul is 10 foot tall and bulletproof. Bring the pain, punk. Beat the hell out of me. Show everybody in this bar what a real man can do to a smack-talking wussy boy like me. But you better remember, my bruises will fade. My cuts will heal. My scars will shrink and disappear. But my poem about the pitiful, small, helpless Oscar Mayer wiener you really are will last forever. Okay, so I'm a lazy writer. This is all I do for a living. I just write and perform poetry. And it's a really scary thing to just allow yourself to try to live by pure creativity alone, because there's no cubicle, which is nice, but there's also no framework unless it's the one that you create, you know? I get up whenever I decide it's time to get up, and I go to bed whenever it's time to go to bed, and sometimes I blow off entire days, and sometimes I work completely straight through 8 days a week, and it's kind of scary because the money comes and goes, but when it's really the time where you make that connection with an audience or a person, and somebody comes up to you and says, thanks, and then just walks away, it makes it all worth it. But it's scary. It's a little scary. I think I'm scared all the time. But then I just write about it all the time, so it gives me lots to do. I think if I was perfectly happy and perfectly well balanced and perfectly everything was sunshiny and great, I would have the most boring poetry ever, which is a shame. I want to write about happy things, and I try to write empowering, awesome things, and the really crappy things I just leave to myself. I don't really share it. But I am a lazy writer. I don't write enough. So what I do every once in a while, I give myself a challenge. And I gave myself a challenge to write a haiku every day for a year. I ended up doing it for 2 years. A haiku, just so you know, small poem, 3 lines, 17 syllables, 5-7-5 is usually what we consider haiku, although it doesn't have to be limited to that. In the Japanese form, it's usually about nature and the passage of time, but American haiku basically can be about anything. So, what I would like you to do, I'll point to somebody, give me your birthday, and I will give you the poem I wrote on your birthday. You.
February 6th.
February 6th? I have them all arranged in this book by date. February 6th. Okay. You have to remember though that I usually would blow it. Oh no, this is a disclaimer. I would usually blow it off until 11:49 p.m. and then go, oh damn, my haiku, and I would just sit there and go, okay, boom, boom, boom. And sometimes this is how I discovered that Darling Nikki by Prince, you know Darling Nikki by Prince, is all made up of haiku. Ready? Watch. I knew a girl named Nikki, I guess you could say she was a sex fiend. That's a haiku. Met her in a hotel lobby, masturbating with the magazine. Yeah, so that's 2 days right there. Those were my haikus for those 2 days. So they're not all good, like this one. Girl. And you know it sucks because it starts with, girl. You can call me autobiography, because I'm all about you. Oh. So bad. What's your birthday? You.
July 27th.
Oh boy, the way you threw your voice like that, it's really amazing. July 27th?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on just a moment. July, what is that? What number is that? 6? 7? 27th? Okay, here it goes. They're all about girls. That's the theme. Hillary's looking over my shoulder as I type this. I love you. And she was, and we broke up 4 months later. Ian, what's your birthday?
November 29th.
November, what is that, 11?
Yeah.
November 29th. This is a girl poem. They're all, let's pull apart the fresh bread of our hearts and feed it to each other. Oh, that's kind of deep. You in the red. What's your birthday?
June 26th.
June. That's 6. 6/26. God, this is another 11:49 p.m. one. Masturbation is sex with someone you love. At least most of the time. I think there's a lot of self-hatred in my masturbation. Take it! Just take it, you big wimp! That's way too much, isn't it? That's way too much information. Here's the one I wrote on my last girlfriend's birthday. Ache in my chest. She thinks it's love. I think it's cancer. Yeah. Okay, one more. Whose birthday? You. Yes.
September 28th.
September. What is that, 9?
Yes.
This is nice. Operator, sounds like old lover. We talk for hours. That's it. So I do a lot of touring and traveling and stuff. It's one of the most awesome things that I do with this sort of job that I have. It gives me the opportunity to see places I would not have seen otherwise. I've been on, I've probably done 200 shows since I started touring. Like somebody has brought me someplace to do a performance, probably 200 times. And a lot of those times, though they're in high schools. And I remember the first time I did a high school was in 2001. And up to this point, I had only been writing for myself and my friends, and I'd only performed at colleges, you know. So there are no language restrictions really, unless they're self-imposed, or it's like a Jesuit college, which I had to perform at once. They asked me not to take the Lord's name in vain. I was like, okay, God. Oh my God, I just said God. That was funny, actually. Okay, so, I got to a high school and I was like, oh my gosh, I cost so much. And there's so many inappropriate things here. And like all the relationship stuff I had written up to that point were about a certain aspect of a relationship that maybe isn't proper to be expressing in front of a 13 or 14-year-old. And it just threw me into this quandary of like, what am I doing? You know, what am I putting out there? And I did Wussy Boy, and halfway through I kind of forgot a piece, and this 14-year-old, this little slender twig of a boy stood up and said, I know the next line. And so I was like, get up here. And he finished it up, and it was like a censored version of it without all the curse words. And I was like, wow, how in the world did you get a hold of that? Because this was, I wasn't on the internet really all that much, so I don't know how we got a hold of it. But it really started getting me to think, maybe I need to write from a different place, and I need to take control over the stuff that I put out there, because, you know, if I were to be hit by a car and all I've got out there is a bunch of stuff with cursing all in it, I'm just gonna be embarrassed for myself. Although I'll be dead and not care. But anyway, I started purposely writing differently and expressing myself about important issues, not just to crack my friends up anymore. And it led to this poem. I read this for the very first time in front of a great big crowd of high schoolers. It was like 14, 15, and 16-year-olds at a great big speech conference in West Texas. Are you familiar with West Texas? Like the barren wasteland that is West Texas? Like the radio was like... Thank God I'm a country boy. And imagine, Canyon, Texas is where West Texas A&M is there. And right before I was getting ready to go up, this girl with red dreadlocks came bounding back stage and says, you know, could you write a poem for me? And I was like, yo, it's like I got 20 minutes, what are you talking about? But she had this look on her face of like, I'm the only kid within 300 miles with red dreadlocks. Write me a freaking poem. I'm tired of playing World of Warcraft all day long. Write me a poem. So I was like, I can feel that pain, because I'm from Bakersfield, California, which is like if the United States has a rectal orifice, it is my hometown. It is my hometown. That's where I'm from. So I felt for her. So in like 15 minutes, I just wrote this down, and it ended up being more about what I wish someone had told me at 15. It's called Propers. This one goes out to those who refuse to be defined, who look at government forms as a challenge, who see the safe little boxes next to Caucasian and Asian, Black and Hispanic, and make their own little box labeled all of the above, who scratch out the question entirely and write their own names in large capital letters, who, when forced to choose between male and female, write instead, see attached 27-page document detailing why my gender and sexuality will never fit within the confines of your stupid little boxes. This one goes out to those who fight every day for the simple right to exist. For every gay kid ever beaten up for being gay. For every straight kid ever beaten up for being gay. For every girl who looks into the hungry eyes of magazine models and shouts, I don't need the body of a skinny 12-year-old boy to be beautiful. Gaze upon my thick thighs with envy. For every boy who winces when his friends measure their masculinity by how many girls they screw over and are man enough to call them out for it. For every girl who has screamed enough and marched with her sisters to take back the night for monsters who would rather they stay at home afraid. For every band geek who picked up a guitar or drumsticks or a French horn instead of a bomb. For every poet who picked up a pen instead of a gun and expressed their anger with words and not blood. For every jock who refused to see those physically weaker than them as less than them. And for every teacher who risked their jobs by simply being there when no one else would. This one goes out to you. To those who refuse to define themselves by their GPA, by the size of their parents' bank accounts, by the clothes they wear, or the music they listen to. To those who demand to be defined by their actions, not by their fashions. Who can't wait to turn 18 so they can finally vote those idiots out of office. Who refuse to be passive consumers in this self-centered nation and throw away their televisions and make their own movies, who throw out their PlayStations and make their own video games, who teach themselves to play their own music and write their own novels and create their own art, and most of all, this one goes out to the kid listening right now who thinks I cannot possibly be talking about them. The quiet kid, the one who never speaks, who never raises his voice or his hand, the one with no friends, who's never been on a date, the one ignored by parents, by teachers, by other kids. Yes, this one goes out to you most of all. Know this. I understand. I hear you. I used to be you. Don't you let anyone say your voice has no value. Raise your voice, kid, and don't ever stop. I gotta get properly hydrated. Man, I walked off the plane and my skin went. I was like, oh, God, Denver hurts. Denver hurts me. It burns, precious, it burns. Y'all a bunch of dorks who know what I was talking about just now. Okay, so I wasn't gonna read this poem, but I just suddenly decided to read it. It's about that time in a person's life when they're graduating high school or college, and their opinion of who they are, and their image of who they are, and the life that they have built up at this point in their young life clashes with the idea of what their parents were thinking of when they were conceived 18 or 21 years ago. And it just makes for drama. Like life-changing, relationship-changing, family-shattering drama that might not be resolved till you're 30. And I knew two people, they were sisters. One graduating college, one graduating high school, who were just dealing with it so hard. And I wrote this poem for them. It starts with a quote from a song. I will not sing it. Friends Don't Let Friends Karaoke is my t-shirt of choice. Here's the song. Mama always told me never look into the eyes of the sun. But Mama, that's where the fun is. There comes a time in everyone's life when they must be allowed to discover this truth. The sweetest berries are in the very heart of the sticker bush. It's the scratches that make them sweet. If I've learned anything about life, it's this. A knee without scars is evidence of a life unlived. Children, protected from playing in the dirt, grow into sick adults, unable to fight the simplest infections. Parents can't possibly redeem themselves for past bad choices by forcing their children into closets. This will only make them blind and afraid and vulnerable, and it will make them hate you. You can't protect me from my mistakes. I need them. I need the protection of calluses. I need the wisdom of scars. So, give me a life full of rope burns and splinters and heartfelt advice I'm allowed to ignore. Give me shins scraped by pavement and front teeth cracked by tree limbs and elbows bloodies into stories worth telling. At the end of my life, the last thing I want to see is a long series of safe choices and measured steps. Give me instead a life filled with dizzying triumphs, fueled by countless lovely mess-ups and wonderfully painful bad choices, with cockamamie schemes that sometimes actually worked, and stories so outrageous. People never stop sharing them as their own. Please, God, let my last dying breath be scented with gentle regret for foolish things I had the courage to try, and none for things I dared not do. Mistakes are the only thing that have taught me anything, and I have learned a lot. The only lessons worth learning are the ones that leave a mark. Okay, if you ever have to perform in front of a big audience, do not eat pad thai and drink a gigantic Thai iced tea 45 minutes before you're about to perform, because I am having difficulties right now about which I will not explain. But I do not recommend it, is what I'm saying. So I'm about to read some more stuff. A little while later, I'm gonna because I've always wanted to do this, is do like a Q&A. You dream about what it would be like to do a question and answer session. I would like to do that just because I think it would be cool, and I bet you guys would have some really cool questions. And so think about something you would like to ask about anything at all. Bye.
Bye.
Call me. Page me. Facebook me. She's like, dork. So, I make a living just doing this, so check it out. If anything you hear tonight is something maybe you want to bring home to you or give to somebody, I can empower you to do that. I have a book. It's brand new. It's 128 pages, 40 poems, and it's shiny. And it has a spine, and a barcode, and an ISBN number. Also, for you visual people, I have a DVD of my last tour, which is really, really fun. It has 13 performances all over the country, and it was a blast. And then for people who are just more audio inclined, a 17-track CD, and it's really good. So that's how I eat. So if you'd like to, you know how we always talk about supporting the arts? You can feed a poet right now and support the arts. It's like NPR. Just think about it that way. It's like NPR. Here's a haiku. Ready? Good news. In hell, they have NPR. Bad news. It's always Pledge Week. Don't you hate it? I'm like, oh, if I only had $1 million, I'd give it to you. Just shut up. I've never laughed like that just now in my entire life. It was like a... Okay, so those are all poems that I think the youngest poem in that book is about a year old, because I just put it together, and it just came out like 6 months ago. So it's all pretty fresh stuff. But within this book, within the confines of this new stuff that I'm working on, stuff that maybe is never going to be read again, stuff that needs desperately to be overhauled. And so I would like to read for you now, for your support or derision, the latest thing that I've written. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I love music. I listen to it constantly because I'm in front of my computer, and I'm listening to music constantly as I'm writing, and I have certain music that I listen to get in the mood, I hate caffeine, but I just get like a Monster energy drink and put on some really fast, like, techno music. Oh my God. Okay, I'm desperately close to beatboxing just now. Sorry, I'm really sorry. Some kid in high school the other day, because I did a high school show, I did two-hour high school shows in a row. It was very hard. And somebody asked me, like during the Q&A, can you beatbox? And I was like, dear God. And so I actually found myself beatboxing, and I did the worm, and I'll do anything. And I did the moonwalk. And let me tell you, okay, without getting too specific or intimate, guys should not do the worm without a cup. Okay, I'm just going to tell you right now, because I just threw myself valiantly into that worm, and I got up feeling like I had been kicked in the back. And guys know what I'm talking about. Girls, thankfully you never will. But dear God, I was like, okay, so here's some haiku. I will never do the worm again, ever. God, that's hard. That's almost sad. Like you reach a point in your life where you're like, well, that's the last worm I'll ever do. I'm done with that. I've got a few more moonwalks in me, but no, the worm's done. Because I was like, I was a big grandpa-y. Anyway, I want to write a poem that captures some of the musicality and the fun of music. And this is my attempt, for good or bad. I am not an arrogant man. Hold on, I have to clear my throat. Give me a woo. Woo! Give me a, oh yeah! Oh yeah! It's that damn pad thai, hold on. Worst performance ever, Denver University. No, I'm just kidding. God, I knew this lesson. I knew it. I knew not to eat pad thai right before I was about to perform. I am not an arrogant man. My tragically low self-esteem keeps any delusions of grandeur in check. But there is one thing at which I am far better than anyone in this room. I am a mixtape genius. I spin tunes like monsoon winds blow typhoons, sling slews of full moon blue moods, make foolish DJs like you look buffoon. When I brew my mixtape voodoo for you, boo, you swoon. I mix melodies with memories that sway your bodies like coconut trees in the ocean breeze. I blend heartbeats with drum beats till fleets of bare feet crack concrete city streets with hard heel beats. Twist turntable tornadoes with whirlwinds of spin. Furiously flip faders to and fro for surround sound that astounds. I am a connoisseur of cold cuts, a master chef of ghetto blaster bass clefs, tossing ballads like salads, chopping break beats like sweetmeats. I will Julian jazz and flash fry it in funk, season it with tribal drums and serve it up as crunk. It makes my mixtape saucy like Emerald Lagasse's in my posse. I will blend a chunk of the loneliest monk with a hunk of old school punk, stir it around till it sounds profound, make you see babies like ultrasound, allow me to expound. You will not play my mixtape. My mixtape will play you. Make you dance marionette on the ends of guitar strings. Bounce that booty like a rusty bucket on the end of a string. Pluck power chords from the chords of your hamstrings. Tie ribbons of rhythms and festoons from your heartstrings. Ain't nothing but a chicken wing, unless you suggest. I'm a point-and-click DJ, mouse-clicking mixes with iTunes all day, typing love into search engines and dragging megabytes of music across desktops and burning CDs with simplicity stuff. Remember this, when I say mixtape, I mean mixtape, like old school 90-minute cassette tape, 45 per side, TDK all the way, middle position with the tab clicked out so you can't take over it. Like back in the day when you actually had to listen to every song all the way through. And not just listen to them, but live through them as you painted the living room carpet with an artist's palette of 45s and 33 1/3, EPs and LPs, IP, a rainy day Renoir brandishing audio brushes dipped in Ella Fitzgerald's blues and Bo Diddley's reds. Then I go Picasso, throw Michael Jackson solo with Miles Davis hornblow, paint the skies with Billie Holiday's cries as Charlie Bird Parker flies by, then slash the canvas with Tupac and Elvis, Radiohead and Talking Heads and Ace of freaking Base up in your face, maybe even Erasure, and I'll make sure it all makes sense. And when you grace your stereo with my mixtape, strap on your big fat padded DJ ear goggles, press play, lay back, relax. Allow the Da Vinci Code of my mixtape odes flow slow-mo like molasses kisses. You best remember this, missus. That feeling you get giddy in your midriff, the one that whispers of summer skies and fireflies and bicycle tires and campfires down by the lake. Make no mistake, take whatever flights of synesthetic fancy you feel and multiply them tenfold, because when I molded my mixtape experience for you, boo, I was holding back. Now, when you're ready to have your plate glass heart shattered into 1,000 lovely shards, know this. I've got a special cassette tape soundtrack for your innermost thoughts, ready to hold on. It's brand new. I've got a special cassette tape soundtrack for your innermost thoughts, ready to astral project your mind to faraway climes only the winds bend. And it's got your secret name sharpied across the handmade Xeroxed J-card cover. Thank you. So here's some more haiku. I really like haiku a lot because you can express so much in such a small space. And pretty much any complete thought can be turned into poetry. So I'm going to do some funny ones and I'm going to do some romantic ones. You ready? Dating is hard. Dating is very difficult and confusing to me because girls are scary to me. Girls are very frightening to me. Girls, you're frightening to me. Women are scary to me. Any guy feeling this for right now? You're not man enough to admit it. Girls are scary. They smell so good. They do. Like I'll be in the hallway and somebody will waft by with their hair conditioner. I'll go, and I fall into like the floor with my mouth agape. I'm just like so an idiot. I'm an idiot around girls. But I get back at you with my poetry. I write bitter ex-girlfriend haiku. So, bitter ex-girlfriend haiku number 75. I love you in God's way, which means I ignore you and never return your calls. Girlfriend haiku number 74. Your heart's like Iraq's weapons of mass destruction. It never existed. Bitter ex-girlfriend haiku number 17. You are useless as the alcohol swab before lethal injection. It's just bad. I don't mean that. That is so bitter. It's better to express your bitterness here than anywhere else. I don't mean any of this. Bitter ex-girlfriend haiku number 15. Tonight is the first night in 3 years I did not think of you. Wait, damn. Bitter ex-girlfriend haiku number 4. I wanted her to spoon me, but she ended up knifing me instead. Yeah, but once I get it out of me, then I'm cool and I can start admitting my responsibility and why the relationship didn't work, and then I'm not so bitter because it's usually my fault. Here are some not so bitter haiku. It's hard to write an erotic poem. Have you ever tried to write an erotic poem without sounding like a porno soundtrack or goofy or in 7th grade or offensive? It's very difficult. So every once in a while, since it's so difficult for me because I get embarrassed about like sex stuff, I get really embarrassed. Like one time I temped for a record store. They said they were doing inventory. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm in college, I needed some extra cash. It's like 6 hours on a Saturday. I'll help you do inventory. Well, unfortunately, they had like a sex room where they had like toys and stuff, and I am so embarrassed about that kind of stuff. And, you know, it's all good, but golly, I just never thought I would say anything remotely close to. It says here we should have 7 jelly dildos with veins, but I only count 5. And there's no, where are the hopping penis toys? I can't find the hopping penis toys. And what is this inflatable pig? How do you use, what do you, oh, never mind. I figured it out. Gross. So I'm just so nervous, weirded out about sex. I'm scared. So every once in a while I try to write erotic haiku, and here are a couple that will probably suck. 1. Beads of sweat collect in the hollows of your hips. My lips drink deeply. So if you like, you go, The tip of my tongue taps a trail of tingles up and down your backbone. Your belly beckons in syllables of sighs. My body obeys. Wow. Carved on the roof of my mouth in a language your tongue alone speaks. Yes. And then, okay, the most ridiculous thing I've ever written in my whole entire life when you hear it. Has the word loins in it. I mean, what do you say besides loins? I mean, what's that? I call it down there, okay? Like here's my sex talk. Oh, down there. That's it. That's the limit to my, referring to the region. I call it the area. Like, if, your area was on fire, I'd be like, excuse me, your area is in flames. You should do something about that. So, I didn't know, I couldn't put area. I'm certainly gonna put JJ. I don't know what to put. So I used loins, which is like the most unattractive sound. It sounds like a lion. I don't know. So, I read Psalms from the open Bible of your loins. Holy nectar flows. That is just stupid! Dear God. Okay, so yeah, I'm a big fat dork about dating and stuff. Hey, I have to change the tape on my camera real quick. Can you give me a second? This is for my mom. No, for real, it's so